Hi everyone, I'm going to cover another new test route which is following the signs. So my car is facing in direction of the traffic lights, and since it's a follow the signs test route, I am going to tell you. So the examiner asked my learner driver to move off and follow the signs towards central London. I hope you can see the signs on the left hand side. It is a hazard. Since he's walking in the middle of the road, I'm going to have to let them go first. So central London, arrow towards left, that means we are going to be turning left at the traffic lights. Speed limit change, 30 sign on my left hand side, test center on my left hand side where the left learner car is, the red one, and I'll indicate left now. So it's a new test route, and it's a lot different from the rest of the test routes that I've done previously, although the roads are still the same, but the combination can be a bit tricky. I'm having to find a good, nice, bright day for me to be able to film all these test routes so that I can capture the best quality. But sometimes it's not, the visibility is not great given that the sunset is a lot sooner. This test route is from 1st of December 2025. Check my left mirror. Now it's two lanes up to this point and then they merge into one, so I'll check my right mirror and position myself correctly into the lane. So the speed limit is 30. Now the sign says dual carriageway ahead. Therefore this one lane splits into two. I can spot all these vehicles ahead of me, and I'll choose to go into the left hand lane. So I do not have to indicate here because I have a choice there. Some people do indicate, but if they indicate before junctions, them cars might think that you are going to turn left, whereas you're not turning left, you're coming straight ahead. Now there's another sign that's on my left hand side, but it's where that pedestrian is walking towards us on the left hand side, and it will only get visible when we get closer. So follow the signs towards central London is the top one. The white arrow is showing me to continue straight ahead at the next set of traffic lights. There's a bend here, and as I follow through the bend you'll be able to see the traffic lights. Just about here. I'm hoping to capture this video in as little time as possible, but since it's a Saturday and it's just before Christmas, there's a lot more traffic on the road. I'm also hoping to overtake this vehicle ahead of me, so mirror signal, right into the right hand lane. Now if the examiner does not give you any directions, that means you're going to follow the signs and the road markings, means you're going straight ahead. There's a bit of bend on the road. Now usually you should be in the left hand lane, but still have a car that's following very closely on the left hand lane that I just overtook, so I can't shift back. However, from my local knowledge, I know there's a bus lane coming up ahead, so when I get under this bridge that's above my head, I see the bus lane sign on my left hand side. I would mirror signal and shift myself back into the right hand lane about there, so there was no point me going back into the left hand lane. It's a 24/7 bus lane, so you cannot use it at any time. Now this is leading me into Morden one-way system that is outside Morden Underground Station, and as you can see the signs, the blue signs, one way from here on, and the speed limit changes around here to 20. And as I follow through the bend, I'm going to approach traffic light and I have to stay in the right hand lane. Now there are signs on my right hand side, so the examiner will ask you to follow the signs towards central London again. If you notice where it says central London, Wimbledon, Colliers Wood, A24 and Mitcham, it's got two white arrows. That means there are two lanes that are going to take you towards the central London side. So from here, as I proceed, you'll be able to see the road markings very clearly. So look, two arrows with 20 speed markings, both going right. Now since the bus is a lot wider, they're occupying two lanes, which is perfectly fine. So you got to take some caution and hold back, follow around, and make sure you follow the lane discipline. So if you are in the right lane, make sure you keep your car in the right hand lane. And if no directions are given at this point, that means you're following the road ahead. So if I look at the road marking in front of me, I will just carry on ahead. However, the examiner will tell you that continue to follow the road around, right, and do not go into the right hand lane when it splits there just ahead of me. I am also fully aware of the cars on my left hand side, because sometimes they do switch lanes. For example, this blue Porsche ahead of me, they have taken exactly the same level. They're in between two lanes, which is incorrect. So if you would have done that on your test and you had a car on one side causing them to brake or change the direction, that can lead to a fail. And now the examiner says, I would like you to follow the signs towards M25. The sign is on your left hand side. So if you see, it's the second exit past 12 o'clock on the right hand side. So as I approach, I have to anticipate these light might change, but also there's a change in speed limit, which is 30. So with the right indication, this is a very busy roundabout. However, I can see there's a blocker there, which is this Mercedes, and I can quickly proceed. And around here, I'll flick my indicator to the left, and I have a choice to exit whichever lane, but on this occasion, I'll just exit the right hand lane because of the cyclist on the left hand side. And after overtaking cyclists, just like that purple van ahead of us, we can come back to our left hand side. Now, because I'm making a video, I'm going to switch myself back into the right hand lane for a reason that I'm going to explain you a bit further. But you as a learner driver, you can stick to the left hand lane there. I'm really hoping to capture the direction signs, because I can see there are a few buses. Sometimes buses block your view. Under those circumstances, the examiner will guide you which lane you need to be in and which exit you're taking. Unmarked two lanes. As you can see, the bus on the left hand side is driving a lot closer to the curb on the left hand side because it's two unmarked lanes. I can spot the oncoming traffic, and I hope I can capture this sign. So the examiner will ask you to follow the signs towards North Cheam, third exit past 12 o'clock. So therefore I have to be in the right hand lane. On your test you would have to switch the lane. I'll start with the right indication, making sure leaving this crossing open. Okay, I have space, I'll proceed. Okay, now I'm keeping an eye on the indication and positioning, so I'll proceed to the first exit on my left hand side, and I'll continue to hug the roundabout as it's past 12 o'clock. Here I'll continue to hug the roundabout, and from here I'll indicate left and take my exit. Now on the exit the speed limit changes to 20, so this is what you have to be careful with. Not a very tight gap, but I have to stay cautious. and the Mr. Examiner will ask you to take several turns here, not to follow the signs. So they'll ask you to turn right when it says King's Perry on your right. It's a very narrow turn, and the cars parked both sides. I have to position myself correctly in the middle of the road and show sufficient clearance, which means not getting too close to the parked cars. The speed limit is still 20, as you can see. It's a residential area, but that does not determine the speed limit, just to be clear. The examiner might ask you to pull up on the right hand side, for example around here. This means they're going to ask you to carry out a maneuver, which would be reverse approximately 2 car lengths. They will also add that do not worry about the driver on this occasion. I'm just done, so I'll just move off straight away without wasting any time. Or they might ask you to carry out an emergency stop. As you can see, it's a quiet road, which is quite wide. Sometimes they ask you to do a parallel park next to one of these cars on the left hand side, and once again they'll ask you to not worry about the driver on this occasion. At the end of the road, turn left. Now, since there are cars parked on both sides right on the edge, even though the right hand side is clear, I cannot still proceed because the oncoming traffic on the left hand side is using the middle of the road and make effective observations. So if I have to peep and creep, I'm going to peep and creep, right, and keep checking both sides. One last look and proceed with caution. Now, if someone comes out of there, so we're turning left here to start with. If someone comes, and if you're slow and showing enough caution, this gives the examiner a good impression that you are taking hazard into consideration. The examiners will ask you to pull up somewhere safe on the left hand side. So usually this car on the left hand side, this silver Nissan, is usually an empty spot during quiet hours, so they will never trick you into it. When they ask you to pull up somewhere safe, it's your job to identify a safe spot and pull up safely, reasonably close to the curb. And I anticipate an oncoming traffic since it's a bend, so what I'll do is I'll come off accelerator until my visibility is great, just here. And at the next junction, turn left. That's what the examiner says. We'll be turning left. Now, once again, the road is narrow that we're turning in with the cars parked both ways, so the oncoming traffic would be utilizing a more central position. On my right hand side, I have 3 more cars. 1, 2, and then it's clear. I'm also aware of the oncoming traffic, so when I steer here, I'll go very slowly and stay sharply into my side of the road. What people do is they try and move off quick and they end up in the middle of the road. And so the more important thing, so follow the signs towards M25. So I'm going to slow down so that you can clearly see how there's a no entry, then there's first exit, second is the third exit. So third available exit. So test route number 1, right? If you refer back, this is the roundabout. This is for you to work out that which exit you're going to take. So speed limit change 30, starting with the right indication. That means I'm going to have to hug the roundabout since the third available exit is well past 12 o'clock. It looks quite busy. I'm going to have to make a decision as an advanced driver more than a learner driver on this occasion, just to reduce the timing. Yeah, fire safe gap. So no entry on my left hand side. That's the first exit where the red learner car is going. That's the second exit. We've just done this roundabout. Around here, I anticipate the lights might change. Mirror signal left. Hug the roundabout tight and try exit the right hand lane around here. Do not exit the left hand lane there if you are not in the left hand lane to start with. Hazard, anticipate the lights might change. Because that person who just went around across the road, they may have pressed the button, so the likelihood is the lights might change. So the bus lane is on my left hand side, obviously. I forgot to mention this as I exited. The speed limit is still 30. the examiner is not going to give you any direction. They might tell you continue straight ahead of the traffic light. It's your duty to see if there are any cars in the right hand lane further down that are indicating to turn right. If that's the case, good drivers would plan ahead, check their left mirror, indicate left, move on to the left hand lane when it's safe, making sure not ending up in the bus lane, and then go around those cars. So I'll just try to do it, even though I'm not sure because I can't see past this van. So what I'll do is mirror signal left, move on to the left hand lane. Let's say there's a car, oh, there are actually two vans, so maybe I can't see the indicator of the first van here. If they're indicating turn right, they will prevent me from going straight ahead basically. So what I'm going to do is, when the traffic light changes, just as an advanced driver, I'm going to scoot through this junction and try and move back onto the right hand lane because I know there's a bus lane ahead of me. Okay, a little caution here. Okay, there's a learner, so learner has to go first since they're in the middle of the junction, and this is the test stand. You cannot go through that gap because the learner is still there, so learner is struggling there. I'll flick my right indicator to warn the drivers behind them trying to switch the lane. There you go. Glad that I captured this on the video, so this will help a lot of other people to understand how the junctions work. Since that learner driver was still in the junction, it is dangerous for me to continue before them. Now this is the most trickiest part. Now refer back to test route video number 6, and that is follow the signs towards M25. The sign is coming up on left hand side. That means now it says M25, it says Reigate A217 Belmont Cheam, so A217 is your clue there, which is 4th exit. That means I'm going to have to read the road markings and make sure if I'm in the correct lane. Just so you know, it is the right hand lane, so you do not have to switch the lane. But for you to be able to understand this part better, you must go back onto test route video now. So I'm going to slow down. A217 on the floor, A217 on the floor. I'm really hoping to complete this test route within one battery charge, because the camera sometimes heats up and it just trips. Okay, now the police undercover is trying to intimidate the drivers. They are not meant to cross the red light. They have technically, but so just to make sure that you are not supposed to run a red light only because there's a blue light behind you. Okay, right, so the right hand lane, my lane will split into two. I have a choice there, and the recommended of the split is the left hand side of the split. For example, around here, look, it splits here, so I'll go into the left of the split. You can use the right hand lane, there's no harm. However, sometimes the backed up traffic taking different exit prevents you from taking your exit, which is why this is the more recommended one of the two. On one of the tests, the examiner did help my learner driver say, I would recommend you stay in the left hand side of the split. Okay, I hope I can make through this traffic light since it's been green for a while. I think so. Okay, I've made it. Indicate left, and look, 2 lanes merging into one, so be very, very careful. Keep checking your right mirror, just like this Audi. Not done anything wrong, but you have to be aware. Speed limit changing 30. So let's say you were too busy looking into these things and you missed that sign. It's a quiet time of the day or whatever, and you either overspeed or do well under the speed limit. That's where people might pick up a driving fault. lot more traffic, as I at the beginning of the video I mentioned. It's one of the weekends before Christmas time. Now I can spot the 40 speed limit sign, but I cannot go above 30 until I hit the sign. So I'm still doing 28, and this is where I'll pick up some speed. Now the examiner will help you here a little bit and say, I would suggest that you move onto the right hand lane straight away. So you can indicate there, but even though if you don't and you switch lane in time, then it's perfectly fine. And the reason they say this is because the sign is on the left hand side and they want you to take the correct exit. So they will ask you to follow the signs to a low Morden. Now if I'll slow down, now there's a no right turn sign just underneath the low Morden. That means you cannot turn right at the traffic lights. However, by the looks, if you pause the video, zoom in, you will be able to see that this was also covered in test route number 6, that you have to cross over this junction traffic light, indicate right, and go into that little bay on the right hand side. So under the green light you can see no right turn. So the best time to indicate would be as I enter the junction. So mirror signal right, and I'll go into this little loop here. I'll wait at the traffic light. Now this is the traffic light which really confuses some drivers, or maybe not confusion, maybe not the right word, but like you see there's so much oncoming traffic on a quiet day. When 1 or 2 cars are there and they go around you, they give you a feel that it's a safe gap for you, but what people forget is that it's a traffic light controlled one way. I hope that makes sense. So let's say even though I have a gap, so now the lights will change and I'll follow through. Yeah. So one way sign, follow it around. And the examiner will tell you at the end of the road, turn left. Give a sign, heavy traffic on my right hand side, I'll position correctly and wait for the safe gap. There's no need for you to rush your decision. Okay. And the bad thing about this is that there is no 30 sign there, but I'm telling you that it's a 30 speed limit. Now what the examiners do is, although there are a lot of cars ahead of me and I can't do up to the limit, I'm currently doing 18 and I'm more or less matching the speed of the cars ahead of me. So the crossing here, very busy during the school hours. They will ask you a question. That's a hint for you. So they'll ask you, okay, if there are no speed signs and there are street lamps, what do you think would be the speed limit? So if you've done your theory and you remember the answer to the question and the highway code, then you know when there are street lamps and there are no speed sign, that means it's 30. That may not be the case on all the occasions. There are some parts in Morden Test Center for which a very long stretch there's no sign, but it still is 20. So the examiner will tell you continue straight ahead. At the roundabout, it's a mini roundabout. Approach cautiously, there's no rush. Make good observations. I'll slow down, nothing on my right hand side, no oncoming traffic indicating to come around, so I'll just carry on. Okay, this is where I have to show some progress. Since the traffic's moving a lot faster, I'm doing 25. This is an evidence of me being aware of the speed limit. The examiner will ask you to pull up somewhere safe along this road. They typically do, because there are some like portions, for example this tree on my left, so no road markings, not in front of the driveway. Another one just after these double lines, next to this cement bollard, next to these bushes on the left. These are all safe spots, so you must identify them soon enough, and so that you can do timely mirror signal and be able to stop there correctly. Now the examiner will ask you to continue straight ahead at the traffic lights, which is where your test is going to come to an end. However, if you're deciding to turn off the video, don't, because this last junction can be slightly tricky, and it's very important that you people understand how to deal with it on a busy day, something like this. So the lights are green. First thing you have to anticipate, the lights will change because there are a lot of cars ahead of me. Now, left hand lane to continue straight ahead. I have cars on my right hand lane. I am aware of that blue Audi indicating to go right, but this grey Audi is still going straight ahead. Look, the lights changed, but since I was in transition. Now look at the cars merging. So what I'll do is I'll flick my right indicator and I'm warning a black BMW behind me that I'm trying to come into the right hand lane, unlike the grey car ahead of me. So that's the end of the test route. The test center was on my right hand side there, and I started across the road on the right hand side. I hope you enjoyed this video and it really helps you understand how the test route works, how the test is carried out, and improve your local knowledge. Thank you very much.